Okie dokie. And it records at the same time. So I got the broadcast up on my, it says it's receiving my, starting to receive my content. How about that?
We are live, dude.
Hey, we're live? All right. Are we?
We are.
I don't see it yet, but I trust you if you say we're live.
Yeah,
I believe you. Let me get your little Skypeity thingity off the window so I can just see your face once and you don't want your face up there twice.
I should stick these on so we don't get feedback.
Yeah, no feedback. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our, we're going to schedule it 15 minutes before we're going to do it, live stream.
They're the best one.
And I'm here with my good buddy, Johnny Scotland, over in, you all know who he is. I mean, anyone that shows up here doesn't know who you are by now.
Well, you would have thought, you know. MIDI Drums Made Easy Volume 1, Volume 2.
Yeah, Volume 1, Volume 2, soon to come, songwriting. Hey, we already got six people. Hey, Woodbeast, how are you, Woodbeast? And John is here. John, how you doing? Robert Booth is here. Hello. Does that say, I can't read the one under John. My computer's
it looks Hattie Daddy.
Hattie Daddy. I don't know Hattie Daddy. Hattie Daddy, are you new here or did you change your name, your screen name? I don't recognize that, but hello and welcome. Tony, Graham, how are you? How's everybody doing? Thanks for joining us. We were going to do this last night, and it was my fault. I scheduled something and then I had to back out because, you know, family dinner and holiday. And happy Thanksgiving to everybody in the United States that's watching. I know Johnny didn't have that problem last night, but I did. So we already have 18 people here. Fantastic. Hi, Mike. How are you? Jazz, how are you? Robert again. How are you? Woodbeast, how are you? Hattie Daddy says he's new. Well, hi, welcome. I don't know how you found us. Are you new to my YouTube channel? Are you new to Johnny's YouTube channel? Are you new to learningtomix.com? How did you find us? Or did you just stumble upon us as you were surfing the net 5 minutes ago? Paul's here. Truckster's here. Hey, and that's okay too. Welcome. So yeah, we already have 20 people. That's fantastic. So yeah, so we were going to do this last night and it didn't work out. And then I said today, I was sitting in my studio doing some stuff and I said, oh, what the heck? Let me call up my buddy Johnny. Johnny, how you doing, man? How's your weekend been so far? Or your weekend's about to start. How's your week been?
A week has been very busy. I've been completely refurbing this place.
Cool.
Not the whole flat, just my studio.
Yeah, tell everyone what you got. You got a whole new thing going on in your studio, right?
I do. I have a brand new desk. My old black one that was basically, it was my grandmother's nightstand, and I just turned it into a desk and used my old 1970s Celestion speakers to make like a shelf. So I had that set up for years. I had that for like 5 years. Basically, as soon as I knew I was going to get the new toy, which is in front of me, which you can't really see very well. Hang on. I'll see if I can adjust that.
Yeah, go scan it down. And hey, guys, we're just going to, I'll say hi while you're doing that. Truckster's here. Mike is here. Hattie Daddy says he's watched a few of my YouTube videos, and that's how he found me. Well, welcome. Again, Doug is here. We have, so guys, we're just going to kind of hang. We're going to talk about some stuff. I got a Studio One session I'm going to show you, which will be pretty cool pretty soon. And just, you know, talk about maybe Black Friday plug-in deals, and we're just going to kind of hang. So if you have questions, you can shoot them in. Nothing real formal. We're not going to do a bunch of mixing lessons today. This is just kind of a hang. I haven't seen any of you guys in about a month. It's been a month since I've been on here. So Johnny, show us what you got. Okay, so you have, oh, there it is. There's the StudioLive Series 3.
Studio 3, 16.
16, there you go. Excellent. So you got that going, and you got it wired up, and
I have no idea if I'm backing shot or not.
No, you're back in the shot. You could probably turn the camera up a little.
Right,
yeah. So half your head isn't chopped off. No, there you go. Good. That looks cool. Yeah, so you got the StudioLive 16, Series 316, and you got it all patched in now. So
yep. So we're wired for USB and for Cat5 as well. So I've got that going on.
Right.
I'm deliberately not running audio through it because I intend to use it for DAW control when that gets released. So that's what I have that for. It's an epic piece of kit, I'll tell you.
Oh, it sure is. Yeah. So the DAW control, that's the topic that everybody that has one of these mixers has been talking about, right? So I don't know,
yes.
Anyone in the chat have a Series 3 mixer? I know there's a few that do. Who in the chat has a Series 3 mixer? And if you don't, are you just waiting for the Studio One DAW control? Are you in the market for one? That ought to be really really cool, and I know it's coming soon, soon, soon,
It is.
soon,
It's
real
it's
soon.
like real soon.
Yeah,
Italic, underlined several times in bright red, and probably flashing.
yeah. Yes. Doug in California says he has a StudioLive 32. Me as well. Robert says no way, can't afford it. Well, maybe not now, Robert, but at one point you might be able to. Let's see, scanning back up here. Paul says he's been watching a lot of the Studio One start videos since his Sonar is going away. Oh yeah, so the Studio One beginner's guide on my YouTube channel. Check that out. There's 13 or 15 videos, and then there's a whole bunch of other training on home recording made easy. Let's see what else. Woodby says, "Tool cool guys. I get a notice because I am subscribed." Well, that's great. Woodby's great. So you got a notice that we came on and you joined us. Mike wants to know, what do we feel about Gibson shutting down Cakewalk?
Yeah, that's the big news in the audio world at the moment.
Right. So Gibson, how exact? I know Gibson bought Cakewalk. Is that what they did? And they shut it down?
Yeah, they bought Cakewalk, I think maybe in 2013.
Okay.
I believe.
Uh-huh.
And so Cakewalk and everything that comes out of Cakewalk, like Sonar and all of that
Oh,
stuff.
right. That's right. Sonar.
Basically, yes, RIP Sonar and Cakewalk yeah, they're basically ceasing production and development. So over the period of the next several months, it will
just go away.
Yeah. And if you have Sonar, you can continue using it, but there just will be no further updates.
No support.
No support. Eventually, I think they've got like a skeleton crew that are going to be doing support for the next several months until this whole period, this transition period is complete. And then I believe they will cease support for it as well.
So do you know why they're doing that? Is there any, I haven't read up on it. Is there any reason why they're shutting it down, or is it just, it's got to be a financial thing. It must be. There's no other reason for them to do it, right?
The public statement from Cakewalk and from Gibson is not particularly clear on the reasons why they're ceasing production on it. But you know, I imagine it's got to be something to do with finance, or they're just finding it hard to compete with other DAWs in the market. Like, you know, there's obviously Presonus in the market with Studio One, and then you've got Cubase that have just launched 9.5, which appears to be utterly spectacular. I've seen the update video for that, and so and I do hear certain birds whispering about an update to Pro Tools imminent.
Okay.
So, you know, there's lots of things going on, and I think maybe they are just in a position where they're just like, you know what, we can't compete, we can't continue. So
Gibson is a company that is over the recent years has bought lots of other companies. They're not even really just a guitar well, they're really not. They're not a guitar. They are a guitar manufacturer, but that's not their main business anymore. Or it's one of their main businesses, but they own a lot of different things. They own Philips and electronic companies, and you know, they own a lot of different things. And I know Gibson themselves, from what I've read and seen on YouTube, they're big time in debt and, you know, having all kinds of issues. And so, yeah, who knows what's going on over there with Gibson, which is kind of a shame because as far as their guitars go, you know, obviously they're a staple, you know, and one of the most, if not the most popular guitar, you know, ever produced.
Yeah, you have here.
Yeah, Les Paul. Yeah, I have a 335 and I have a Les Paul. But honestly, the 335 I really love. But the Les Paul, I'll tell you, because mine is I have a custom shop reissue, a gold top 1957 reissue, and I've had many others over the years, and I've sold them all because since I got turned on to Paul Reed Smith's guitars, and I play their version of the Les Paul, which there's a couple ones, they call it the SC Single Cut 245, which I own, and then also now released in 2016 the Single Cut 594. And those two guitars, I own one of each of those. And those two guitars play better than any Les Paul I've ever had in my hands, and it feels just like a Les Paul because the scale length is the same.
Same scale length.
Yeah, and they positioned the toggle, the pickup selector switch, and the four knobs in the same position as you know. So obviously they were trying to make something that would appeal to a Les Paul player, and it is, unfortunately, and I say it with a kind of a sad heart in a lot of ways because I played Gibsons all my life. They're just a better guitar. It's better made. It's better playability. It stays in tune. You know, it just, you don't need to take it to a setup guy within the first week of buying it to have it set up and play properly. It plays properly right out of the case.
You know, you're not the only guitar playing friend to say that about Gibson guitars. You know, their standard of production, you know, is unless you go the custom route, appears to be that, you know, kind of the standard factory made guitars, they're just a bit substandard.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. You know, Gibson's one of those things where you know, they make you can find a magical one, but you got to play a bunch of them. You know, you just have to. And if you go into a shop and you play a bunch of them, you'll probably find a few that will feel good to you. But you got to play a bunch of them. That's my experience. And and that's, and even the custom shops, like I said, I own a custom shop, and it's a nice guitar. It doesn't play as well as my Paul Reed Smith 594. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. You know, it's not even close, to be honest. And you're talking about the same cash. When you look at a custom shop reissue Les Paul, you know, you're looking at about the $33,000 to $3,500 range, depending on whether you buy 57, 58, or 59 reissue. And you could buy a Paul Reed Smith single cut 594 in a regular top, not one of their real exotic tops, you know, regular top, like I have a gold top behind me, for about this, within a couple of $100, the same money, you know?
Yeah.
And it's a better made guitar. It just is. It's too bad because I played Gibsons my whole life and I love them, but something happened to that company. And I think a lot of people have said, you know, when you read stuff on the internet and see stuff, it's because they're not focused on just making guitars anymore. They're focused on a million other things. And a new CEO of the company, I don't know how long he's been the CEO. He doesn't get a lot of high praise. And they kind of lost their way, I think, Gibson.
Yeah, they have this really, certainly appears to me, quite aggressive acquisition strategy. You know, and it seems to me that their last few acquisitions have gone the way of Cakewalk. Not too long after they purchased them. You know.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate because it leaves a whole bunch of people that you know have bought into the unlimited updates package for Sonar. You know, they're kind of left a little alert now.
Yeah.
You know, so they're kind of stranded, and they've paid for lifetime updates, which they're now not going to get. I mean, one of my friends down in London, he has a fantastic studio in Islington in northwest London. You know, he's been a Sonar guy for 25 years.
Wow.
And as soon as this whole thing with unlimited lifetime updates, you know, when they brought that in, he was one of the first people to jump on board with it. And he's just like, now what am I going to do? I've paid for this, and what am I going to do now? So I said, well, you know, I've been telling you about Studio One for the last 3 years.
Yeah, fortunately, it's not that, you know, from a cost perspective, it's not ungodly expensive to go get another DAW. It's the learning curve, you know, which is everybody's concern when you've been using a DAW for so many years, no matter which one you're using. And I understand that for sure. Let's see what's going on in the chat, everybody. We got 23 people here. Let's see. Let me scroll back up and see if there's any questions we might have mixed. Justin, let's see. Let me go up a little bit further. Tony's, we're gonna go up a little further. I don't want to miss anybody's question. If I missed you guys, just re-ask it. I would be glad to try to answer, and Johnny will as well. Would-be says, the Sonar hard to compete with PreSonus. They're the best. I would agree with you. Paul says Gibson is going the way of commercial products with Philips. Yeah, we were just talking about that. You're right. Mike says Cakewalk is far superior to anyone else for MIDI control. which is a real loss since Studio One has not picked up the torch. Johnny, you might be able to talk to that a little bit more because I'm not a big MIDI guy, period. Hence is the reason why I didn't create MIDI Drums Made Easy Volume 1 and Volume 2. but yeah, what's your opinion on that? I've heard that, but I couldn't speak to that in an intelligent way. Maybe you can.
Yeah, really, my opinion, Sonar and Cubase are probably the best DAWs for MIDI at the current point, Logic being not far behind. I mean, Cubase has probably been the leader really with MIDI since a lot of the protocols for MIDI are protocols that they created. So, and they had a lot to do with the invention of MIDI in the first place. So, so they've kind of led the way with quite considerably detailed editing tools that you can get. I mean, I left Cubase a few years ago, so I can't talk to where they are now in 9.5. But certainly when I left in Cubase 6.5, you can edit pretty much anything that you could possibly consider would need editing with MIDI. To the point like if you wanted to do ghosted notes on a snare drum for a drum groove, like if you wanted to do the Bernard Purdie halftime shuffle, which I showed in MIDI Drums Volume 2, you could do that very, very easily by just selecting the notes you want to be ghosted, and then you just highlight one and drop it down, and they all drop down to where you want them. It's not quite so easy to do such things in Studio One. It's a little bit more funky, a bit more fiddly in Studio One. There's quite a lot missing to do in MIDI editing. So it would be really cool now with Sonar leaving a bit of a vacuum in terms of taking MIDI forward. It'd be really great if the developers over in Hamburg saw this as an opportunity to really start pushing forward the MIDI protocols in Studio One and the editing.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, and maybe they will. I mean, hopefully they will. Tony says, "Hey Johnny, is that a Rode NT1A microphone you got there?"
It is.
It is, and you sound great. I mean, your other mic sounded good too, but now it sounds a lot more crisp to me.
Yeah, there's a bit more top end on this. I think looking at the frequency spectrum for the Rode NT1A, it does seem like there's like a 2 or 3 dB boost around about 10K. And it loses some of the boxiness that my other mic had. When we did Chanel for Learning to Mix.
Yeah.
It's very evident that mic had quite a lot of boxiness around 200 to 400. When it all adds up, and using the same mic to do a dozen different jobs, it all adds up. And I'm not really, I mean, I've not used this a lot for miking lots of things and seeing it add up yet, but it's something I intend to exhaustively test and see kind of if it has a similar thing. I get the impression it doesn't, but
no, the NT1A is a great mic. I mean, I've used one as well. I mean, I don't think you'll find that same big mid-range boxiness as much. I don't think you will. Paul says, plus Gibson, going back to Gibson, made the mistake of going all in on the robot tuners. Oh yeah. And well, no, they've taken them off now. Well, I guess now they have a couple of, they've changed the models and the lines of the Gibsons. It's like the Les Paul that it used to just be standard, studio, and classic. And now they have a standard, and then they went to the robot tuners in 2015. That went over like, not like a lead balloon. People hate it. The thing about Gibson, and I feel sorry for him in this one respect, is that
it's a great idea.
When you have such a classic staple as, like, say, the Les Paul, and you have the true traditionalists, and there are lots of them, who love the golden age of the Les Paul is 57, 58, 59. 59 probably being the most popular, right? And they're all three of them are pretty much the same, except the neck profile is slightly different. People, don't touch my Les Paul, right? They don't want the new innovative stuff. They want the classic, don't touch my Les Paul. And Gibson, to their credit, I mean, we're talking about 1950s, 60s, trying to do something a little different, and it didn't go over very well. So what that, I guess what that kind of charged them to do was now they make what they're calling now the traditional, which is the non-weight relieved, old Gluson tuners, non-locking tuners, the kind of built to the spec kind of old, you know, classic Les Paul that all your favorite guitar players played. And then they have now they have what I guess over the last couple of years what they call the high performance model, which is where they're trying new things, like they're putting the electronic tuners, where they changed the way the neck, the heel joint to the body. They've kind of scooped it out, which gives you higher access up the fretboard, where you don't have that big chunk of wood in your way. And they've done some things that people didn't like when they didn't have, you know, the traditional model. But the robot tuners didn't go over very well, that's for sure. But, you know, again, to their credit, they're trying to do some new stuff.
Yeah.
Which is okay. I just wish that they were more consistent. You know, today with CNC machine, you know, these things are not all handmade anymore. You know, with CNC machinery and stuff, they should be able to, you know, you should be able to pick up 2 Les Pauls coming right off the line. They ought to feel pretty darn similar or almost exact. And they're just not. And that's a quality thing. And hopefully they're going to get better at that. Like I said, like Paul Reed Smith, you could pick 2 up off the wall. They feel identical, because they have modern, you know, manufacturing techniques, just like Gibson and Fender and everybody else. So,
and they end up with a lot less Beeline product as well.
Yes. Truckster Fox. Hey, Truckster, how are you? Thanks for joining. So thoughts on the CLA mixing kick top out 8K seems to work great. Oh, you mean Chris Lord Algae mixing, taking 8K off the kick? I think I've seen him do that. Do I have any thoughts on that? Well, it depends. When I'm mixing kick drums, if it's just one single kick mic and you don't have like a kick in and a kick out or a kick sub and whatever, if it's just one mic that let's say was like halfway inside of the kick drum, I might boost a little bit of 2 or 3K to get a little click, and then everything after that I roll off. But if Chris Lord Algae is doing something like that, I would try it, because I'm sure it sounds and works great. It all depends on how the kick was recorded, right? So,
yes.
Let's see. Justin Air. Hey, Justin, how are you? Think you'll ever go back to Pro Tools as your main DAW, David? No. No. No.
Shortest answer in the world.
No. I have Pro Tools 11. That's the last one I have, and I didn't even really use it. I only had it when I was doing a lot more mixing work with people that had Pro Tools sessions. I had it so I can open and work in it. But since, I'd say it's been a good solid year, I haven't even opened Pro Tools. I keep it on my computer only for that rare session that comes in that's in Pro Tools. And then more times than not, I'll take the WAV files out of Pro Tools and put them in Studio One anyway. So, yeah, I don't recommend Pro Tools to anybody. No one. I just don't.
No.
Let's see. Paul says, I prefer my PRS to any current Gibson. Yeah, me too. And I have 3 PRSs, as I told you about the 2 Les Paul style. And I also have a DGT, which is a double cutaway 25 David Grissom model with 11s on it. Amazing sounding guitar. Let's see. Trucker Fox says, I had a PRS Santana with bare knuckles aftermath pickups. Yeah, I never played the Santana model, but again, I don't think you could go wrong with any PRS, and I know a lot of people get worried about the price. Here's the thing: if you're Guitar Talk, hey, it's Guitar Studio, it's all the same, right? It's all. Go check out any of the PRS SE models, the ones that are made overseas. You want to talk about a hell of a guitar for $600-700 US. I don't know that you can buy a better made guitar for that kind of money. Yeah, really. I mean, it's really, really a great guitar for the money. Really, if you don't want to spend the $3,000 on the USA models, I get it. But they don't make a 594 SE, but they make a 245 SE. If you're looking for the Les Paul feel, the 24.5-inch scale A, get a 245 SE for $500, brand new, with a nice gig bag. Yep. You could take the pickups out. You want to throw the American-made pickups in for $150-200, and for less than $1,000, you got a beautiful guitar that I'd put up against any American-made guitar. Yep. Regardless of price.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah, they're just fantastic. Yeah, they really are.
I like them. I don't own them. A friend of mine, who's actually quite local to me, has so many PRS guitars. It's almost like he's got the all this the entire product line in
Yeah,
his
well, yeah,
studio.
that'll cost you a
He's,
fortune.
he's addicted, seriously. But I took my Ibanez AGR 70
Hmm.
along because we were doing one of those rare sessions where I actually get to play guitar. It virtually never happens. I think I've only been on 2 records playing guitar in my entire life because I'm not a great guitar player.
You're a bass player
But
and a keyboard.
I am a bass player, a keyboard player, and a vocalist. That's what I do predominantly. But he liked my Ibanez. He likes the way I play it. So he's
Hmm.
just like, come and play on this track. And I played a couple of his PRSs, and you know what? I ended up leaving the Ibanez in the gig bag,
Yeah,
and I played I forget which one it was, but I played one of his PRSs, and it felt just dreamy, and it
yeah.
sounded as well.
They really do make a great guitar.
Make
They
made me
really.
play better. It actually made me play better.
Well, you're not fighting the instrument.
Yeah,
It really is true. And again, I'm not a Gibson basher. I played Gibsons for 20 some odd years.
yep.
Love them. That was my thing. I'm not a Fender guy. I'm more of a Gibson guy. I've only been
Hmm.
a PRS guy maybe a year and a half. And once I got turned on to it and I picked one up, well, uh, before they made the Les Paul 24.5 inch scale length, they have the 20. I like that scale length. I don't like the Fender scale length. And their other ones I think are 25.5, whatever. It didn't feel good to me. And I don't like the custom 24 and the custom 22. They're very thin. They're very light. And I'm not into thin light guitars. I'm used to a Les Paul that weighs 9 pounds. That's a
Yeah,
big piece of, guitar. And I love that feel. It's what I'm used to. Once
yeah.
they put out the 245 and I played that, I said, that's it. There's no reason to go back to the Les Pauls that I have. And I've had lots of them over the years and I've sold most of them
Yeah.
because they didn't play well. But if you find a great one, a great Les Paul, hold on to it because
Yep.
they can make good guitars. Let's see. Woodby says, my 68 gold top is amazing. Never had an issue I couldn't fix. Fantastic. You got one of the good ones. Robert
Yep.
says, I'll stick to my Fenders. Yeah, I'm not a Fender guy myself, but I know lots of Fender guys, and Fender makes amazing guitars. It's just
I'm
what
a
you
Fen-
like,
I'm
right?
a guy, I'm a Fender guy because of bass playing because Fender make, my opinion, they make the best basses in the business. You
Oh,
know,
yeah. My bass is a Fender P bass. I do have one
yeah.
of those. Yes. From
The P basses, if you get like one of the 70s P basses, you've got like one of the early 70s P basses, you have struck gold. I don't. Mine's a 78 P bass, the P bass I've got, and my fretless jazz bass is a 1963 or 64.
Oh, wow. You got some vintage ones. Yeah.
Yeah,
My P bass is a 1996. I guess that's considered a vintage guitar at this
it is
point.
now. Yeah, it is now. Yeah.
Right? And you're right, it plays beautiful. I bought it used for like $700. It's an American made P bass and it plays amazing.
And
Um,
those get better with age.
yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yep.
Let's see. Tony says, I love how my Fender Strat plays and how my Gibson sounds. Yep. And that's why Eddie Van Halen took a Strat style guitar and ripped a humbucker out of a Les Paul and put it in there, and voila, you have now
Yep.
how many companies since then do you have now that put a Strat style body with a humbucker in it, right?
Yep.
You can thank Eddie Van Halen for that. I would agree. Let's see. Okay, Woodby says PRS is local here and way overpriced. Yes, PRSs are they're expensive. They are.
Yep. I agree.
They are. Oops, did I lose my place here? A lot of people here, almost 30 people. I'll
Yeah.
get to everybody, guys. I'll get to everyone. Okay, let me see. Let's see. And I want to show you guys the Studio One session too. I want to show them the live one I got, John,
Oh yeah.
from Mr. Rick Nofke over at PreSonus. Okay, let's see. Tony, don't worry, Tony, if you can't spell. I can't speak, you can't spell. So we make a perfect pair. Let's see. Tony says he loves his Fenders. Mike says I've been with Sonar since it was 12 tone systems in Cakewalk
Ooh.
1.0.
1987. That would be.
I don't even know that going back that far. Wow.
1987. Yeah, I started in 1988, so just the year after that, but
Yeah.
not Cakewalk. I was on what would become Cubase a few like three
Right,
or
right,
four
right.
later.
So,
What
Mike,
they had
yeah.
become Cubase.
So, Mike, are you going to Studio One now? Is that what you're going to do? Where are you going to go from Sonar? What are you doing? What are you planning to do? Are you not sure yet? We can help you if you'd like.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Paul says, I saw the writing on the wall a month or two ago. That's why I attended your live show for Studio One. Oh, okay, great. Great. So you saw the writing on the wall with Sonar, and now you're kind of migrating over to Studio One. Fantastic.
Tell you what,
Um,
Dave, if you've been over at the Personas forums recently,
mhm.
in the last few days since the announcement, it's quite busy with people coming over from Sonar.
Oh, fantastic. That's great. Well, I mean, again, if anyone here is on Sonar and you need help, I mean, you're talking to two guys right here that can certainly help you.
Yep.
My both our YouTube channels are riddled with Studio One stuff, and I have the
Riddle.
playlist on my YouTube channel, the beginner's guide to Studio One. There's 13 free videos. If you've never used Studio One before, this will kind of get you going in the right direction.
Yep.
And then Johnny Geib over Home Studio Trainers, another great. You have a million great resources to help you with Studio One. So have no fear if you're nervous and you're freaking out about leaving Sonar.
Yep.
We'll get you rolling. Believe me, we'll help you and in any way we can. And we have a lot of inside, tracks to the folks at PreSonus. If something weirdly weird happens and you really need support, we can get you.
Yep.
We could push you ahead of the line. We can help you. Thunder Creek Studios. Hey, David. Hey, that's Andy, right?
That's Andy. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
How you doing, Andy? How are you? Let's see. I bet Persona's already filled the void. But let me just make sure I don't miss anybody here. Okay, cool. Woodbeast. He says. Justin Air says. So, what plugins did you go for Black Friday? I haven't bought one. Not one. I'm trying to stay good. Well, I'll show you guys some of the Black Friday sales in a second. I got Google pulled up and a bunch of websites, and everyone's got Black Friday sales. Everybody does, but
let's encourage bankruptcy.
yeah, it's I haven't bought any though, Justin, and I don't plan to be honest. The only plugin that I would buy is if something got released that I don't already have. That like if Universal Audio, they just released the Distressor, but I already got. But I don't really need that. If they put out like something really cool, I would buy something. But I don't really need another LA2A or 1176. I got 4 of them. I don't need them. So, but I'll show you guys in a few minutes some ones you can look at if you need to get into those plugins.
Yeah, I didn't buy a single one either.
Yeah, good for you. You shouldn't.
No. I mean, I've got my SSL channels. I've got the E channel, the G channel. I've got the Slate Everything bundle. Do I really need much more?
Not much. You don't really need. No, you don't need much more than that.
Nope.
Jammin' J 317. Hi, Jammin' J. Are you new here? I don't recognize that name either. Are we getting some new people? This is great.
Yeah, he would have come over from Johnny's channel. I think.
Cool. All right, excellent. I'm sure he's. I get so many people that now that I don't remember everybody's name, but welcome. He says, I have been to a Gibson factory in Memphis and in Nashville. They are, to me, still well-built guitar. If you have a problem with Gibson, they stand behind their product. Take a trip to their factory. I've never been to their factory. I've seen some YouTube videos on them. They look like they have an impressive. The Nashville, is it the Nashville? No, excuse me. The Memphis factory, I believe, is closing. They got it up for sale, and they're going to kind of consolidate. I guess the building is half the building's physically not even being used. And so they're going to, that's where all the 335s and semi-hollow bodies, those are all made there. It looks like a real impressive operation. I do have a 335. I bought it brand new, and it plays like a dream right out of the box. It's one of those great playing Gibsons. So I think when they get it right, it's still a well-built guitar. I would never get rid of my 335. I would love to take a trip to their factory. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, me too, actually.
Mike says, I'd love... I do love my 2 real 1958 Les Pauls.
Ooh.
Nothing new plays or sounds like them. You have 2 real 1958s. Well, there you go. And those are the right.
Check the numbers on those.
Yeah, those are the ones that, the 57s, 58s, 59s, and the 60s.
That's the classic.
Those are the ones. If you got one of those, You know, you got a guitar that was, you know, at the top of its game and really changed the, you know, changed the landscape as far as people of the popularity of Les Pauls. Because what a lot of people don't realize is the Les Paul at one point you couldn't sell them. You know,
True.
they actually at one point were going to discontinue the Les Paul as you know it, and they were calling the SG the Les Paul. And it wasn't until the late '60s or the early, or excuse me, around the mid '70s when all the people like Joe Walsh and Jimmy Page and Jeff Beck, and even at the time before he went into Strats, really Eric Clapton, they were all playing Les Pauls, and they kind of made that a popular thing again. But there was a time where you couldn't give away a Les Paul. And now, if you can get a real 58, you got a real 58. You know, he's got two of them. So that's awesome. I've never played a real one. I've only had reissues. Let's see. Okay. So Doug, hey Doug, how are you? So what do we expect the functionality of the Series 3 DAW control to do in specifics? Well, you know, I don't know. John, you could probably talk to a little bit better than that. I just know, you know, for me, it's gonna have faders. You're gonna be able to control the faders. I don't know how in depth, right out of the box, it's gonna control every single nuance of Studio One. My guess is it's probably not, but what can, or maybe you can't talk about it. I don't know what you can and can't talk about. So,
yeah, I'm going to have to tread very, very carefully because I am one of the few who have some privileged access to the DAW control. So I have to be very careful what I say. Other than I think my overarching theme here would be that when it comes, and it is coming, when it comes, it is going to blow the market apart.
well, there you go. That's all you need to really say, right? I mean, you don't have to say much more than that.
It's going to be a game changer.
Yeah.
You know, you're talking about, you know, controlling the faders and panning and such, like much like you would do on the CS18. Well, if you consider the CS18, it's a fantastic unit. It really is. It's a great little controller for Studio One. But I think it was kind of baby steps towards something much bigger, and which is kind of what we're coming to now. I think we're coming into a new era of, you know, consoles that work fantastically in a variety of different circumstances. So be it live, be it studio work, be it a whole range of things, you know, maybe even, you know, Foley work, doing outdoor SFX for films, that kind of stuff. It could probably work just as well. You could probably even do it for broadcast for TV as well.
Well, there you go.
I would imagine. You know, I think that's the era that we're coming to, and I think PreSonus are on the cutting edge of it.
Yeah, I don't know anyone else. I mean, again, I haven't seen as much as you've seen, but just what I've heard, I don't know any other company that's doing anything close to what they're talking about putting out. And so, but the thing is, when it comes out, Doug, there's going to be a bunch of us doing videos and stuff.
Yes.
You know, there's going to be, you know, again, there's going to be, the reason why it's delayed is because they're working all the bugs out. They're trying to work the bugs out before they put, you know, there's always going to be something that's going to go for public testing or public beta, they call it, right? And we're going to find stuff. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to get rid of any major problems. So we may find a little thing here or there, and it's going to take, you know, a couple of revisions, I would imagine, to get it right. But we're going to see what it's going to do. I'm sure it's going to do a lot more than what I was originally anticipating. At least I hope.
It's going to blow your mind, Dave.
Yeah, and if you're telling me that, I believe you, because we've talked enough about it. You know that I think, Doug, it'll for me. What specifically do I want it to say? Obviously, the faders. I mean, right? You're going to be able to use, you know, the console to control the parameters of the PreSonus plugins, I would imagine. I don't know that you'll be able to do all third-party plugins right out of the box, but down the road you might be able to. That's what I would like from it. If it does those few things, that's 80% of the battle, because that's most of what you do when you're mixing, right? And then I'm sure there's other little shortcuts and things that'll happen, but But yeah, I mean, if it controls plugins and you got the faders and you can obviously you'll be able to automate like you would with the fader ports, right? And all the basic functionality, anything above and beyond that, I think will just be icing on the cake for me personally, for my workflow, which is primarily mixing with audio, not so much MIDI. So we'll have to see, but I'm excited. It's coming. It's coming soon. Andy says he's getting his new StudioLive next week. Awesome.
Awesome.
Which one did you get, Andy? Did you get the 16, 24, or 32? I think you told me the 24, but I could be wrong about that.
The 24 is a great unit. It really is. Johnny Gibe has one of those.
He's got a 24. Okay, cool. Paul says, I was wondering about the soft synths like Addictive Drums in Studio One 3, routing and whatnot. What do you mean? You're wondering about soft synths like Addictive Drums? I don't use Addictive Drums, but I use Easy Drummer, and I use, what the hell's the other one called? Steven Slate SSD4. It works beautifully, and I know Pete Woj uses Addictive Drums, and he loves it in Studio One. I think he has a video on his YouTube channel too. If you go to Mix Better Now, the YouTube channel, he did one recently. I think it's only a few months old on Addictive Drums. All of those you can run as just straight MIDI in Studio One, or you can blast them out to audio tracks. You can multi-track it out, so you can have kick, snare, toms all on separate tracks like you would if you were doing an acoustic kit. And they sound great. I mean, I haven't heard any of those programs that don't sound awesome. I like the Steven Slate ones because I like the I have the Chris Lord Algae pack and I have the Blackbird Studios pack, which are all heavily processed. They make ones that are completely raw where you can do all your processing, and then they have some like the Chris Lord Algae pack that is just, it's compressed, it's EQ'd. You drop it in Studio One and there's not a whole lot to do to it. I mean, it just sounds great right out of the box.
They were all done at Blackbird Studios, I believe. Is that right?
The CLA ones?
Yeah.
I don't know. On Slate Digital, Slate Drums, whatever, their website, they have the video of the making of that with Chris Lord Algae from a year or so ago. It might have been. You could check that out. But yeah, Chris Lord Algae kind of walked you through. It's like a 12-minute video or so of all the different room mics that they use and how he mic'd things up and what he kind of did. And it just sounds great. I mean, if you can't, you're not going to get a much better drum sound than that. I mean, that's, especially for like pop rock drums, you can't beat them. Woodbee says, Dave, remember that the wood available is, what is that?
Let's go back to guitar.
The wood available back then, and now we are different. Regulations were put on companies like Gibson's. You mean the types of fingerboards and the woods and stuff, and and I guess like anything, especially a guitar, right? If a guitar from 40 years ago, it ages, and if it was taken care of, it's going to sound different than something that's brand new. No, I totally get that. I understand why those older guitars are more sought after. They weren't that sought after in that time. I mean, in the 60s, you could have bought a new Les Paul for $700 or whatever it was, I just mean that the quality of their current guitars coming off the line compared to something like Paul Reed Smith, there's no comparison. And I say that sadly because I'm not a PRS fanboy and I'm bashing Gibson. If any, I'm the other way around, to be honest with you. And but it is what it is, and I got to give credit to PRS. They made a Les Paul that's better than a Les Paul. They sure as hell did. And I have two of them, and they're beautiful. That's just my opinion. But I still own my 57 gold top Les Paul, and I still own my 335. And you're going to have to peel those from my dead hands. I'll never get rid of them. So.
Quite right, too.
Yeah. So Greg wants to know, does PreSonus have any stock synths or samplers similar to Alchemy in Logic Pro? I don't know. Johnny, do they?
They have, let's see, they have Mai Tai.
Mai Tai, that's right.
And they have the Presence XT and Mojito are the three synths that are in Studio One currently.
Which have a billion sounds to them.
Yes.
Not a billion, but it may as well be a billion. There's so many sounds in there.
It may as well. And if you get the PreSonus Symphonic Orchestra add-on, for Presence XT, you get access to the London Symphony Orchestra for a very, very, very meager price.
Yeah, we looked at that a month or so ago. We did a live stream where you demoed some of that. And
Yep.
yeah, that sounded great. That really sounded good. So yeah,
it's amazing. I mean, at that price point, it's unbelievable. To be honest, I mean, people on I did a video series, a nine video series on it,
mm-hmm.
and the comments I got, people were basically saying, well, you put it alongside the East West or the Vienna, or some of the other bigger name orchestral libraries, and they're just like, it's rubbish compared to those. And I'm just like, yeah, but you're comparing something that's $5,000 to something that is 120.
Yeah, right. Not a fair compare. Right.
It's not a fair comparison at the price point that the PSO add-on is. It is epic. It is unbelievable. The quality you get is, the quality is far superior to that price point. I would have happily paid $300-400 for it.
Right, but it's not $5,000, and it's not meant to be.
No.
Right, because if PreSonus went through the research and development and the what it would take to make a $5,000 pack, nobody would buy it.
Exactly.
They're not going to that market. They're not looking to sell to that market.
No.
So they try to give you the best quality and bang you can for the cost. And I agree with you that pack for the money is really amazing. It really is.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. You can't. It's not fair to really compare it to something 20 times the cost. Jackie says, as long as you have a guitar that feels good and sounds good to you, then nothing else matters. Right on. That's right. Absolutely.
Yep.
It doesn't matter who makes the guitar. Robert says, I have a Fender Stratocaster acoustic, sounds great, and it even offered you were even offered $500 for it. I've never played a Fender acoustic, but that's awesome. I only have one acoustic, and I haven't played it in years. I probably should. Let's see. I don't want to miss anybody else's question.
Dave, if you're ever in the market for an acoustic guitar, I should put you in touch with my dad because he's an expert on acoustic guitars.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
That's good to know. Let's see. Where the hell did I skip? I wish you can kind of... Sorry, guys. I'm going back up to the questions. More questions here. I don't want to skip over anybody.
So I'll see if I can catch a few here as well.
Yeah, we got 29, 30 people here. That's really cool. What happened here? Did I miss? I'm getting there. Thanks everybody for stopping in and joining. I hope everyone had a good holiday yesterday for you that are in the US.
I know that my sister did because I've seen pictures.
Okay, here we go. Hi, Ian. Hey, Dave, Johnny, what's up, man? Hey, what's going on? Let's see. Paul Lucas says, those are some nice basses, Johnny.
Yes, I love my basses.
Let's see.
I got them for cheap as well.
UND Music Productions. How are you? Thanks for joining. It's sad that Sonar is going away. That DAW has the best acoustic drum authenticity on the market, hands down. I don't know. I'll take your word for it. I've never heard it. But yeah, it is pretty. It's sad. Again, the other drum programs we talked about, I think, are awesome as well. He says he started with Cakewalk 3.0 in 1993, and then he had used every version up to the platinum. He says he still uses 6 and 7 as well as Studio 1.3. Cool. Ian says, anyone know the Rockville monitors? How do they sound? I'm looking for powered monitors, not passive. Not a power. He's looking for powered speakers. I've never heard. I don't know anything about the Rockville monitors. You're looking for a powered studio monitor? What's your budget? And we can give you a couple of companies to look for. I mean, PreSonus makes a couple of affordable, really good sounding. KRK does as well. If you want to step up from that, I like Focal. That's just me.
Yeah.
Love Focal. Adams are great as well. Mackie even makes a decent monitor these days. So it depends on what you want to spend and how big your room is and what size woofer and everything you're looking to go for.
Yeah, that's the big thing, isn't it? Making sure that your woofer sizes can measure it with your room size.
Yes, you don't want to get a speaker that's too big for the room.
Exactly. I mean, I've got fives in here. I've got the Presonus RSE fives in here, and I did try a pair of Scepter 8s in here. A friend of mine saw my RSE 5s and he said, "Hey, why don't you try these?" So he lent me his Scepter 8s, and they were just far too big for this room.
Yeah,
I mean, it's only 9x7.
Well, I have 6-inch woofers. I have the focals, and my room is from behind me. If you could see back the depth perception, it's 25 feet deep, and I'm by 25 by I don't know 18, 20 feet. It's a big room, and it's I only have 6-inch woofers in mine with no sub, and it sounds
sub. Wow.
No sub. Don't need it. The focals are nice, huh?
Without the sub, your 40 hertz bass note is going to be 16 feet long. So you probably wouldn't hear a low open E string.
Yeah, but anything way down that low, 30, 40 hertz, I'm rolling it off anyway.
Yeah.
Most times. But yeah, no, so I mean, yeah, so that's, that's kind of thing. Mike says, I've been with Studio One since it was introduced. Studio One is better as a recording DAW, but I use Sonar to control my MIDI synths in writing and recording. Right, you were saying earlier that MIDI Sonar was strong or is strong with MIDI compared to Studio One. Jackie, hi Jackie, how are you? I use an Audio Box 2x2 because it's all I need, but I have some recording dropouts. Okay, Audio Box 2x2, and you're having recording dropouts, meaning you're recording and part of the audio isn't getting captured. Is that what you mean? That could be a computer thing, could be a processor speed thing. Are you using Windows PC, or are you using Windows, or using Mac? Be interested to know. Might be able to help you with that. Jazz says he's a Sonar user and would love to switch to Studio One. Just can't afford it, and I heard Studio One Artist doesn't support third-party plugins. Well, Studio One Artist on its own doesn't, but you can buy the $79 or $69, whatever it is, the add-on pack to Artist, to where you can use third-party plugins. So now you're looking at and you can demo it for free, but I think Artist is what, $90 or 99 US, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
$100.
Yeah, and when you combine that with the add-on for third-party plugins, really you're getting an almost professional, by Studio One standards, DAW for a lot less than the cost of the Pro version. So
yeah, the Pro version I think is what's it, 300 now these days?
Yes, although I do believe there's a 50% off Black Friday thing going on.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. I pulled up PreSonus, so they have a Black Friday sale going on too. Yeah, so yeah, I know, but Sonar's going away, man. So you gotta jump somewhere,
Can he stay on the sinking ship?
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for the people that have been using it a long time. I get it. I mean, I get it. Let's see. Andy says at Thunder Creek Studios. Andy says, I got Waves Vocal Writer. Awesome plugin. Use it all the time. As a matter of fact, I just used it in December, which you guys will see. December? What are we in? We're in November. December, the learningtomix.com video content, I'm using Vocal Writer.
It's an awesome thing. We kind of live in the future as well as the present.
Yeah. So it's an awesome plugin. Let's see. Jackie says, Studio One on sale, no crossover upgrade. Or does it say, right?
That is correct. Yes. No, cross grades and educational licenses are exempt from the Black Friday discounts.
Right, because those are already discounted all the time anyway, right?
Correct.
You know what? You can ask Santa Claus for a new DAW for Christmas, right?
You certainly can.
You certainly can.
I happen to know that Mr. Claus is a big Presonus fan.
Well, there you go. Paul says, Studio One has a great Black Friday deal for 50% off, and third-party seller has a 31 additional discount on top of that. And the third-party seller has a 31. Really? So there's 50% off the regular price plus another 30% off? So you're talking about an 80% discount?
That's insanity.
Is that right, Paul?
That's somewhere like Sweetwater.
Well, go put the link up, man, because anyone
Well,
here that's Sonar wants to jump to Studio One, there you go. If you can get yourself a 60 or an 80% discount, do it now. Let's see. Let's see. Justin says, I want more plugins. I have gas. I know. Hey, Tony Graham, how are you? Come on over to PreSonus, my Sonar friends. You will not be disappointed, guaranteed. Well, there you go. Let's see. Ian says, F F Slate Digital just got Isotope.
yes.
Just get Isotope or Waves. I think they do well better than Slate. I don't use Isotope, so I don't know. You could be right about that.
I have like maybe 2 isotope
Not,
plugins.
in Waves compared to Slate, depends on the plugin, in my
Yes.
opinion. But the thing about the Slate Digital stuff is, again, if you get something like the Everything Bundle where it's like $12 a month or something like that to get every one of their plugins, from a cost perspective, it's a hell of a deal. But now Waves, they're always running specials, and they're running all their popular plugins for like $25 this weekend. So,
Yep.
I have them all, and there's certain ones that Waves do better than Slate, and there's certain ones that Slate do better than Waves, and there's certain ones that Universal Audio beats them both, hands down. And I've done some YouTube videos with Johnny. We've compared them side by side, so you
Yeah.
can go listen to them for yourself. No, he says, sorry for my language, but that's his opinion. No, every week, that's okay, man. No, you didn't spell out the word. You were cool about it.
Yeah. You just missed out on the swear box.
Yeah, you did okay. But no, you're all right. No, it's good. Everyone's got an opinion, man. Like, and again, none of these things are, Waves isn't bad, Slate isn't bad. They're all good. It's just a matter of what's your personal preference. I think Universal Audio is better than all of them. But that doesn't mean that the other ones aren't usable or good.
No, I mean Waves has been in the business for what, 25 years.
Something like that, yeah.
So you would think that they must know a thing or two about what they're doing.
Yeah. Robert says he won, does that say 10,000 or 1,000? I think it says $1,000 from IK Multimedia. So we got the T-Rax 5 Max, which is 38 plugins. He also got the mastering console, and he got the what's it, Mondo bass, and the iRig acoustic. Oh, cool. I don't have any of their plugins, so I don't know. I know people that use them. I know they're very popular. And if you won something, fantastic, man. You have to let us know how you like them all. That's great. Let's see. John Ludwig, must be a drummer. Hey, how about that? Drummers like I am love laying down tracks for bands, musicians who want the drums sounding human versus programmed. It may be possible to program more human. Is this our future? You mean program drums versus real drums? Well, yeah, you see, the thing with program drums, and this is why you need to go check out MIDI Drums Made Easy Volume 1 and Volume 2, or Johnny Lipsham here, shows you how to make program drums not sound like program drums. But there's an art form to that, and it takes time to do that, right, John? And that is usually the problem when people use MIDI drums, is they sound like MIDI drums, not the quality of the samples, but the way that the drums are played. Because a lot of times, what I find is people try to do things a lot more complicated than what a real drummer may do, especially with drum fills, and you could tell that they're fake based on a human wouldn't do. Acoustic drums, I would always prefer, but again, when you talk about like the Superior drummer and the Stephen Slate drums and all the things we were talking about earlier, those drums are real drums. The samples are real, and they're recorded so well.
Yeah.
I don't know how you in your home studio, which is most of our audience, is going to be able to achieve a better drum sound with acoustic drums.
See, here's the thing, my opinion on this. Having done MIDI Drums Made Easy Volume 1 and 2, and I am a drummer. I've been playing drums for 38 or so years, and I've been playing professionally for 30 years of those 38.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my opinion, because I could easily put myself out of business as a drummer by making MIDI drums made easy. I could easily have done that. Here's the thing. I don't think for getting really, really, really good drum tracks, there's anything more powerful than a drummer who knows their craft as a drummer extremely well, but also understands the power of MIDI and, very, very detailed editing that you can do in with MIDI drums. And the quality of the samples that you get today, as you say, they are so incredibly well recorded. They sound as good as a real drum set in your studio. If you're a drummer and you know how to do detailed drum programming and you have access to all those high quality samples, you're going to get out a drum chart that sounds like it was you sat down at your drum set playing it.
Right.
Easily.
Right. Right.
Easily.
But,
you know what? Part of what I do in this studio is I do that. I can't set my drums up in here, A, because the room is so tiny, and B, because my kids sleep in the room next door. So there's no way I could do drum charts in here.
right.
But because I've got some pretty good drum samples, I've got a sample of my very own Ludwig 1964 drum set in my 25-year-old MIDI keyboard here. I can knock out drum charts that sound like it's me playing that very set of drums.
Right, and those samples are recorded in a multi-million-dollar studio through really high-end microphones, high-end preamps, consoles.
Yep.
So there's there's that. He's asking, is this our future? I don't think it's our future. I think it's already here. I mean, if you hear a lot of what's in pop music and country and stuff on the radio, they're all programmed. Not all. A lot of them are programmed drums already. And
Yep.
I know this because I get clients to send me mixes, and trust me, there's a lot of programmed drums. And they sound fantastic. So, I guess it's, it's whatever if you're a drummer and you want to record your own stuff, you want to lay down your own drum tracks. I certainly understand that and respect that.
Yeah, me too.
But today, with the way, budgets are and the way recording is done today, and like you said, more of the home or project studio, a lot of people don't have access to the room, to the gear, even if they have all the knowledge, to get a real well recorded drum sound. And so that's where these things can really, really help. UND Music Production says, I'm not a big fan of Slate because he tries to extort by only doing monthly subscriptions versus buying and owning the plugins. Plus, Waves and UAD are just as good or better. Well, half of what I think he said is true. Unless something has changed, you can buy the plugin straight out from Slate. You don't have to do a subscription if you don't want to.
Yes, you can.
At least that's how it was. Is it still that way, Johnny? Because unless he's changed something, you can still buy it. So you don't have to do the subscription. And this is the way most people are going to start to go anyway. You're going to start to see more and more of this. It's already happening in the software world, in business, like with Microsoft Office and stuff. You can't go buy. You have to buy a 365 subscription, they call it. Photoshop, Adobe, same thing. I don't know. I don't think it's extortion. I understand what you're saying, but I don't, and I used to feel that way too when it first kind of hit, and because I bought all the Slate's plugins prior to that subscription. But I understand that's the way people are going today, and you also, at least in the Slate case, you not only get every plugin that you've already had in the past, but all the new plugins that come out are all free with all the updates. So if he were to release just one plugin a year, and he normally releases 2 to 3 plugins a year, if you were to buy those separately, you're going to spend 4 or 5, maybe 4 times the cost in a year than if you were to just buy the subscription. And so, but I hear what you're saying, man, because I know people that feel that way too. But I've just learned to accept this is what's going on now. And again, you're saying that, Waves and UAD are just as good or better. I agree. In a lot of cases, you're right. I only have all 3 because of what I do for a living and teaching and stuff. I have to have 3 to have these kinds of conversations. But you're right. UAD and Waves are just as good as the Slate stuff in a lot of respects. And again, it's all a matter of what you like. So, I mean, it's all good. I don't disagree with what you're saying. Let's see. Truckster Fox. Johnny Lipsham, how much did that StudioLive Series 3 mixer cost? What's the cost of the 16?
I believe the 16 channel retails currently at about £2,000. What that is in US dollars, I'm not sure because the exchange rate has changed as of this morning. I think that the dollar has gone up a little bit against the pound. So
I think it's right around $2,000. I know that the 32 is $3,000. The 24, I believe, is 2,500, and I believe the 16 is right around 1,900, 2,000.
Yeah,
somewhere in that ballpark. Yeah, something like that.
So yeah, about $2,000.
Ian says the rack mount 16, 24, and 32 are amazing products that PreSonus came out with. I'd love to know how I can do inserts on the tracks and create an ear monitor mixes from the output section. You can do that. I'm sure I don't have one of those units, but you want to know what? If you go to PreSonus's website, probably within the last month, Rick Nofke did a short video on how he set up his band live in showing how they set up how they kind of plugged in to do the in-ears, and he showed some of the routing. That might answer some of your questions. I know you can do it. He shows it in part in that video. Check it out on their channel, on the PreSonus YouTube channel. Let's see. Tony Graham says, yeah, but for only $15 a month, you get all of the new plugins. Slate is a really good deal. Yeah, talking about the Slate stuff. You're right, Tony. We just kind of mentioned that. Let's see. Justin saying Waves has a free VU plugin. It's for free. Yeah, I saw that on their website. And speaking of plugins, let's
yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let me just show. I pulled up some stuff in Google. Where's my cursor on my screen here? Yeah. Let me pull up Google here. Let me just do a screen share, and then I'm going to go over to Johnny, and then I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to bring up Google. And let me just go full screen. No, I don't want to go full screen. Yeah, why not? Okay.
This is where to see how long the delay is between Skype and
yeah, because I got a bunch of tabs open. So we'll start on the Universal Audio. So we have all the different Black Friday deals. So Universal Audio has what's called the 12 days of UAD, which I thought was kind of clever. So UAD has their 12 days of Universal Audio. All their plugins, all their plugins are reduced as you scroll down here. You know, things like the SSL channel strip, which is normally 300 or 150. They're running about 50% off. So if you're a UAD person and you want to get into their channel strips, which I think are all fantastic, you can get them for half price. Let's see.
You have to have the hardware, though, don't you?
You do have to have the hardware. And if we go over to Sweetwater, I'll go over that, and I have that tab pulled up as well. They have sales and stuff on the UAD hardware as well. So you can see, you know, all the plugins. Like the Fairchild is 60% off.
Nice.
Some of their plugins are not discounted at all. The ones that are like by Sonics and stuff, but most of them are. So yeah, so UAD's got a bunch of stuff on sale. I haven't bought anything, like I said, because I own 99% of these already. So they got a ton of good plugins. And if we go over to Universal Sweetwater, they have Universal Audio here, all their hardware. What I like about buying it from Universal Audio, buying it from Sweetwater, is they have a lot of these great packages. Like here, for example, well, this is like $3,000. It's a bad example, but here's one for like $1,300 where you buy an Apollo Twin and you get some free plugins with it. You can buy different kinds of where you're going to get a core set of plugins, and then they give you some additional free ones. They have different packages as you scroll through this where you can pick which plugins you want, and it is cheaper than going into Universal Audio and buying the plugins straight out. So it's something to consider. And with Sweetwater, like Musician's Friends and American Music Supply, they all have like 48 months. I think it's up here, 48 months special financing. So up here, 48 months with no interest. So if you wanted to get, you know, spend a little bit of money, you can do that. Here you get if you buy an Apollo, like one of their hardware interfaces, you'll get a free, you know, you get some free satellite, you know, as well. So they got a whole bunch of deals here with UA. So if you're looking to get into Universal Audio, this is the time of year to do it. If you don't have the hardware, you're not going to find these deals throughout the year. It's usually just right around the holidays here. So you can go to sweetwater.com. And if you're not sure, you can always email me about Universal Audio, and I'd be happy to try to help you. Also, you can talk to, I always recommend my sales engineer. His name is Josh S. Stock. His extension is 1375. If you go to call Sweetwater 1375, ask for Josh, tell him I sent you. I send him a lot of people. And he's really knowledgeable about Universal Audio because he uses it in his own private studio. So he can talk you through everything. So if you're interested in that, you know, here's the time to do it. I mean, here's a great deal. Win a UAD quad or an octo with purchase of an Apollo interface, which is pretty cool. Here's another one. You get almost $1,100 of free plugins when you buy an Apollo Twin. So you can really get yourself, you know, a good setup going there. So that's Universal Audio. That's their Black Friday kind of stuff. Waves is also running Black Fridays deals here. Like I said, most of their plugins now are, you know, up to 80% off. Now, what's good about Waves, and you can only do this when you buy it on their website, is if you're going to buy more than one plugin, you want to buy it from Waves because you'll get 25% off the second plugin, 30% off the third through the fifth, and 40% off the sixth plugin. Okay.
Nice.
You'll get 3 free plugins when you shop $80 plugins, 2 of them at $150. And if you go through all their plugins, they're all on sale for $29. Now, they've been on sale for $29 for quite a while. So I always wondered, when the hell is their sale going to end? And it's been going on. So even though it says their sale ends in 12 hours, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But, you know, you can get the CLA 2A, you get the 1176s, all for well under $100. Andy mentioned Vocal Writer, $69. That's a fantastic plugin.
Yeah.
This is an awesome. This is a $300 channel strip. The TG12345, $29. So, Wave's got some great stuff. So you can check them out. Now, a lot of people will buy, and I do this too. You can go over to AudioDeluxe.com, and they also sell Waves plugins, and you can get them a little bit cheaper on AudioDeluxe.com when you have an account with them, which is free to create. But the problem is, if you're going to buy multiple plugins, as I said, on the Waves website, you're going to get that additional discount for buying multiple plugins. You don't get that on AudioDeluxe.com. So just remember that, okay? But there's a ton of deals on Audio Deluxe, and they sell all kinds of, you know, Waves. They sell Isotope. They have, you know, everybody. I mean, they have everybody except for Universal Audio. Fab Filter, another, got a few of their plugins, is really good. The Pro Q.
Yeah, it's good EQ.
You love that EQ, 25% off. They also, the Pro DS, probably the best DSer I've ever used. 25% off, $135. Excellent, excellent DSer. I use it all the time. And they have some other stuff that I don't really, not familiar with. So AudioDeluxe.com, another fantastic website for buying plugins. We talked a little bit about Slate. Here's their amazing deals. He's got all kinds of deals going on over at Slate. Let's see what he's got. It's not only his plugins, but also Trigger and Steven Slate drums. Here's the Everything Bundle, $30 off, $149 a year versus $179.
Oh, nice.
You could get the Raven if you're into the, you know, into the iPad kind of a thing. I had a Raven, I sold it, I wasn't fond of it, but I know people that have it that like it. You can get $100 off that. He's also got deals on his virtual microphone system, which I've never tried, but looks kind of cool. And then here's some really cool stuff. Trigger, which is, I use Trigger all the time for drum replacement. Half price, $79. Little less than, not quite 50% off, about 40% off. Again, we talked a little bit about virtual drums. Here's SSD4. I use this. This is my drum program of choice over Easy Drummer. Again, about 40% off, $80. And then you can get the expansion packs for Trigger for $50. That's half price. And then here's all the expansion packs we talked about. Chris Lord Algae. These are all half price, $50 for their $49 for their expansion packs. The Blackbird Studios pack is amazing. You can get them both for SSD4 and Trigger. So really cool. Here's the Virtual Tube Collection. If you don't want to buy the Everything Bundle, but you want to buy their plugins outright, as somebody said, this is what? $50. It's normally $150 for the Virtual Tube Collection. And these is a great plugin.
Yes, they are.
And I've done a review on my YouTube channel, and it's there. And I use these things a lot. So that's Slate. Slate's got a lot of good deals as well. You can check out Slate. Also, we talked about Audio Deluxe. Now we can go over to PreSonus. And PreSonus has all kinds of stuff going on as well. Go back to their homepage. They had something for, Black Friday deals. Click on that. I don't even know what they have on sale, but they got a lot of stuff on sale. This time around, you can get 50. I think someone mentioned in the chat, right? So 50% off Studio One and 50% off Studio One. Let's see, what else has he got? What else do they have? Where's their shop? It's called presonus.com/shop, right? Is that what it is?
No, it's shop. I think it's shop.presonus.com, I think.
Shop.presonus.
Yeah, I mean you can get to it by doing products and then choosing something. One of those drop downs there.
Here we are. Okay, so let's see. Do they have anything on 30% off the Symphonic Orchestra? We talked about that a little bit earlier. 30% off the saxophone bundle. 30% off the Presence XT with the Studio Grand piano. And then here is our Black Friday sale on Studio One Pro. What's Studio One Pro going for now? Oh, it's $399 regularly. You have to put it in your cart. Is that what you got to do?
Yeah. Right. So yeah.
All right, I'm gonna put it in the cart, and I'm gonna on $200. So it's $100. It's $100. No, $200 off. Yeah, 50%. Isn't that what they said? So it's $199.50 for Studio One Pro.
That's just a bargain.
That's a great deal, right?
That's a steal.
So that's cool. So PreSonus has got some stuff going on there. Let's see what else we got. Plugin Alliance. They also have a lot of great plugins. They have a bunch of Black Friday stuff going on as well. They got some new channel strips, the SSL channel strip, which is really good. I have it. I haven't done a review on it yet, but I've used it once, and it's really nice. So again, you can look at their website. They got a ton of plugins, Plugin Alliance, and everything is looks like it's anywhere from 50% off to 60 or 70% off. This is an awesome EQ, the Dangerous Music Mastering EQ called the Bax EQ. $69. It's normally $250. I have the universal audio version of this, and if the Plugin Alliance one is even close, that's an amazing mastering EQ, especially for that money. The other great plugin by them is the Mag, or some people call it the Mag or the Mog EQ. Again, this little blue one here, $60, normally 200 and some odd. I have the universal audio version of this as well. Great on bass guitar, great on vocals. The Mog EQ has this thing called the Air Band, which is really, really cool. It's another great EQ. So that's Plugin Alliance. They got some cool stuff. And I think that's it. Yeah. And then again, going back to Sweetwater, they got a ton of stuff, and the universal audio stuff has a great deal here. So that's awesome.
Plugin Alliance are amazing. Just the array of stuff that they've got.
Plugin Alliance, yeah, they got a lot of great stuff. So that's cool. So that's what we got going on there, pretty much.
Lots and lots of incredible deals there from pretty much all the manufacturers. They've all got something very, very cool going on.
Yeah, they do. They really, really do.
Oh yeah, you can easily burn big holes in your wallet, but
yeah, you can, and that's one of the reasons why I'm not doing it. Let me go back to Skype here. Windows looking good here, and I'll bring back Johnny back on the screen. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Skype, that's what I wanted to do. Okay, there you are. You're back. Yeah, so those are all the plugin deals, man. So there's a lot of plugins, a lot of good deals going on. If you guys are interested in checking some of that stuff out, I haven't been checking the chat at all. I don't know if you have. We have still 30 people here. Great. We've been on a little over an hour. It's awesome.
Auto Align. They're talking a little bit about Auto Align from, is it Sound Radix that do that?
Sound Radix, awesome plugin. If you work with acoustic recorded drums, as we talked about earlier, you want to have Auto Align. I don't know. I don't know if they're running a sale on it, but I know if you are a member of learningtomix.com, last month we gave away a free copy of that as a mixing contest, and I believe we have a couple more free licenses coming up in January and February of Auto Align. And that's a $200 plugin, and it's awesome. Let's see, Paul. Let's see. Scrolling down here.
You can use that for other things like aligning a horn
Yes.
section, or aligning backing vocals, that kind of
Absolutely,
stuff.
yeah. Anytime there's multiple mics on a source, yeah, like even guitar cabinets. If you had like a ribbon mic and an SM57, if it wasn't phased, right, it's normally used on drums. But yeah, you can use it on anything. Yeah, absolutely. It's really really good, and it works well. Works really well. I use it all the time. Let's see. Let's see. You guys are just chatting it up. Okay, cool. Said that Waves has a free UV meter. Yeah, there's a bunch of people in the chat. Waves does have a free VU meter. You can go download it. Let's see. Jamplay 317, PreSonus, awesome DAW. Been using it since 2011. Cool. David, I have received your Made Easy series classes when I upgraded to 3.0. And, oh, okay, in 2015. Right, in 2015, I did a promotion with PreSonus where if you purchased PreSonus or upgraded, you got my Made Easy stuff for free. I'm glad you jumped in on that, and I'm glad it's helped you. That's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah, that's great. Let's see. Oops. God, stupid, stinking chat always jumps.
It does that to me.
It does that to me too, and I don't want to. So if I miss your question, guys, I'm sorry. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go to the bottom here. Only scroll up a few.
Yeah, if you've not had your question answered yet, folks, just
just re-ask it. I'm trying. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So, yeah, the other thing I wanted to show everyone, Johnny, you haven't seen this either. Let me go to Studio One quick here. We're gonna use. We have talking about PreSonus. Our good friend and Rick Novke over at PreSonus is in a band. Let me. Which camera do I want to go to? I want to go to screen share, and then I want to come down here.
He's bands.
He's in. I don't know. I only know of one band that he's in. But
yeah, he's in Fat Hat, but he's in a couple of other bands as well.
Right. So really... I got Studio One on the screen now. Yeah. So he had sent me a live. I wanted a really good live recording, and Rick was kind enough to send me a recent live show that he recorded with the StudioLive. I believe it's the 32. Or it was the 24. It's the new Series 3 mixer. He also recorded using all the new. We were talking a little earlier in the chat, the rack gear that goes along with the Studio One or goes along with the StudioLive Series 3. And it's all PreSonus stuff, as you would imagine, seeing as he works for PreSonus. And he sent me a live gig. And this gig is, I think, 2 hours.
Cool.
I know the session was 15 gigabytes. And so I opened it up here, and I haven't done anything to it. I just opened it up and just color-coded the tracks. But he was using, and I could show you, did he have the fat channel? Oh no, that wasn't it. Yeah, the other one. He had the fat channel on. He recorded it through with the fat channel.
Oh, you recorded it through the fat channel?
He did. He put it through the fat channel. When I opened up the session, it had the fat channel on it, which was pretty cool. But here's just the raw tracks to give you guys a little sound bite. Hopefully it sounds okay. Here, let me play this back. Just kind of show you what kind of going. This is all kind of instrumental here. And these are where the faders were when I opened it. I didn't mix this at all. There's no plugins on this. Nothing. These are raw tracks.
Those drums sound gorgeous.
Yeah, it's like a jazz instrumental here in the beginning, and they do mostly cover tunes, but I guess in the first couple of this might have been a sound check, but he's just got basically a drum kit here, kick, one top snare mic, hats, toms 1, 2, and then a floor tom, a pad of some kind, and overhead. That's all he's got going on for drums here. Is this mono overhead? I believe it is just a mono overhead. Then they got bass guitar, electric guitar, which would be Rick. Rick is the electric guitar player in Fat Hat. Fat Hat is kind of a funk cover band. Well, they do a bunch of covers, but it's like a funk kind of a vibe, R&B funk. They got keys left and right here. He's got a trumpet, a sax, and a trombone, so they got live horns. And then they got some vocals. Wendell's vocal, which I believe he's the lead vocalist. Rick is a background, does some background vocals. Matt, Don, Jeff, and then he has an audience mic. And that's it. That's all they got. So I haven't even looked at this. I don't even know what's on here. So I just thought I would just, you know, scroll through a little bit. We can listen and see what's going on. Again, it's not mixed. There's no processing. Let's just listen. We know what that song is. Let's move over here and see what they got going on over here. Yeah, you go, Rick. A little Huey Lewis. Hey, that's Rick Knopke there playing the lead guitar. And by the way, he plays a Les Paul, just so y'all know. Talking about Les Pauls earlier. Through an Axe Effects processor. I believe that's a digital processor. I don't believe he plays a real amp live. I could be wrong about that, Rick. Correct me, but I thought that's what I've seen on your videos.
Fixed sounding guitar.
Ripping guitar player though, huh? So that's pretty cool. Yeah. Little Huey Lewis in the news. So yeah, so I'm gonna go through this thing and I'm gonna cut this thing up into separate songs because we are going to use one of these songs in an upcoming episode of learningtomix.com. Rick has been kind enough to let us use that. And then he's also been nice enough to let me use it for any kind of YouTube stuff I want to use it for. The only thing I got to be careful of is copyright stuff. So we'll see what we're going to do there. But yeah, so he's got a bunch of stuff, and I'm going to do some videos. I've had some people ask me in the past, when you get a live recording like this, like, what do? You mix it all, or do you cut all the songs up and import them into separate sessions? And if you want to do that, how do you do that? And so I'm going to do some YouTube videos this weekend on taking this recording, chopping it up into separate songs, exporting the stem files so you can then import them into separate sessions, song by song, if you'd like to do that, which is what I typically would do. I wouldn't just mix. I wouldn't set up a mix and then have the whole 2-hour show mixed exactly the same way, because every song is going to be a little different. The automation might be a little bit different. And then just kind of show you how I would work maybe with a live recording. So this is a really good example of a live recording because it's recorded so well, as we can hear. What else do they have going on here? Little Michael Jackson. Really cool, man. So, I don't know. What do you think, Johnny? That should be fun, right?
Oh, sorry. Mike was muted, so I could actually hear that.
Oh, yeah. No, that was cool. So, yeah. So, yeah, that should be fun, right? It needs to be mixed, obviously. But I thought people might find that interesting. So you'll see, and you will see more of this session being used on YouTube. And again, learningtomix.com. We will definitely be doing some songs there. So thanks, Rick, for letting us use this. I appreciate it. And again, go check out, if you don't know his band, Phat, P-H-A-T, Hat. Search it on YouTube. They have some older videos, but they also have, I believe, some videos from this show that's recent there that you can check out. And they're a really good band. And I think Rick's been with the band a long time because even the older videos, Rick is the guitar player. So Rick's been in it a long time, and he's a great player, and it's a good band, and they play a lot of fun, party dance kind of music. So if you want to check that out, that is that's what's going on here with the Phat Hat. Love the name of that, Phat Hat.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great, and it's the good. They're a good band, great singer, great. Rick's a great guitar player, so I mean, it's just a good band.
What's really funny is that quite often on pictures I've seen on Phat Hat's Facebook group is quite often Rick is wearing a flat hat.
Yes. Yeah.
Not a fat hat.
Not a fat hat. He's wearing a flat hat.
Yeah.
So what's going on? Still have 30 people here. Wow, guys, that's great, man. Really appreciate everyone. Let's see what's gonna go on here. Can we mix this session? Hyam wants to know. Yep. If you're, I think you are a member of Learning to Mix. You'll be able to mix at least part of it. And again, I'm going to use some of it on YouTube. I just got to be careful because of the copyright stuff. I don't mind so much being hit with a copyright notice just because I won't be able to monetize it. I don't care about the monetizing it. I just don't want to get a strike against my account for using the music. And sometimes you got to be careful when you're doing cover songs. But yeah, you guys will see this. And again, if you want to mix it yourself, you have to be a member of learningtomix.com in order to get it, because I can't just give this out to anybody. I've already told Rick I promised him I wouldn't do that, and I'm not going to go back on my word because he was kind enough to let us use it. So you will have a chance to mix it if you're a member. Let's see.
Can't wait to get my hands on it.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. We'll do one song early next year, and I'm sure we'll do a few songs throughout the year. Even though it's not original music and it's cover music, but it'll be fun. It'll be something different. Let's see. I'm going to start from the bottom here. What is the best volume before mixing per track? I think you mean what is the best before mixing? I think you mean gain staging, if that's what you mean. And I try to shoot for the cumulative effect of all the tracks to be right around a -10 or a -12 dB on the master fader, which means that all your individual tracks have to be at least -12. That's what I shoot for. That gives you plenty of headroom, right, John, to add all the plugins you want during processing.
Yep, I do exactly the same kind of ballpark area, 12 to 10.
Yeah, that's a good conservative, safe place to go there. Tony says, Tony says he wants to do some mixing. I want to mix something. Sorry, Tony.
It means that since I've been using Studio One, I don't think I've ever clipped the mix bus. Ever.
I don't know that I have, or I might have not during the gain staging process. I might have not really in an intentional way, but not during mixing.
I've never seen that light come on. I sometimes wonder if it works.
It does work, trust me. So a lot of people are saying they want to mix. They want to mix. They want to mix that session. So don't worry. You guys will have we'll get some access to it at one point. Let's see. Moving back up here. Studio One tips. Dave, you might want to promote your live stream in the PreSonus forum in the Sonar shutting up shop thread. I think a lot of Cakewalk guys are penetrate from seeing Studio One in action. Yeah, I haven't been to the forum in a bit.
Yep.
If you're over there, you could promote. See, the thing is with forums, and PreSonus is not unique to this. They don't want to see the content creator over there promoting and selling all their stuff. You got to be kind of careful about that.
That's all very different now, David. Because,
is it? Okay. Because that's why I don't typically do it. Because I don't want to, create any tension over there.
No. It's completely different now because the PreSonus forum is not directly administered by PreSonus anymore.
Okay.
It's administered by Skip Jones, Johnny Geib, myself, Jeff Pettit, Keith Baker, and there's like maybe 3 or 4 others. So there's about 10 of us that administer it now. and we're all, content creators. We're all, we're like everybody else that's involved with PreSonus gear, or Studio One. We're all PreSonus fans, aficionados, and we're here to help and
Right.
answer your questions. And one of the things you can do is that there is now a community university section,
Mm-hmm.
and it has a section for recording and a section for live live work. And there are videos that my videos are up there, Johnny's videos are up there, some of Jeff's videos are up there, some of Lawrence Farr's videos are up there. My PreSonus Symphonic Orchestra series is up there. You can just go and look at that on that section of the PreSonus forum.
Well, there you go.
I think it'd be great if we could get some of yours over there as well, Dave, like your beginner series, for example.
We could put the beginner series over there. That would probably be the most helpful to someone from Sonar coming over. That would probably be the most helpful. So yeah, we'll do that for sure. Justin says, what RMS for your master would you give to the artist? At the end of the mastering stage for me, it's usually around negative half a dB, roughly. I get it. I don't like to slam the. I don't like this. I'm not real big on slamming it as hard as you can right before it clips. But it depends on the client and the style of music.
Is that your RMS level?
Yes.
Almost zero?
Excuse me. My peak level.
Oh, your peak level. So you're talking what? -6 RMS.
Yeah. Yes. My peak level is right around a negative half a dB, maybe a little bit hotter than that, but not much.
Yeah. So you're talking a dynamic range of about 6 or 7.
Yeah. I like a little more dynamic, me personally. But if it's a client, and it's their project and it's a heavy metal track, well, they're going to want it right up against the brick wall.
Yeah.
Right there. Even though, and so it depends on what it is. But for me personally, I like it to be a little more conservative, but that's just me.
Yeah, I think the good thing about conservative is that you can come up from conservative, but you can't necessarily come down from stacking thing.
Right.
Because if you've already overdriven at the input stage, then there's no way of getting rid of the clipping distortion.
Exactly. Right. So be conservative, and you can always add, but you can't take it away. Target Sound says something about recording. What about volume for recording and tracking? Same thing. -12, -15, conservative. Let's see what else we got. We've got so many people here. This is great. You guys are still hanging around. Hour and 40 minutes later. Justin says a -6 RMS seems high to me. What about LUFS and DR do you use for those? What do you say, Johnny?
LUFS is to do with average loudness, which is, and RMS is kind of root mean squared, so it means the average of your overall volume. And LUFS is all to do with the new loudness standardization normalization. So it was invented around about 2013. 1 LU is essentially 1 dB.
Right.
So so LUFS is full scale. LU full scale, loudness unit full scale. So my RMS is round about my dynamic range that I send off for mastering is round about a dynamic range of 10.
That you send, you send off to master. I mean, after mastering.
Oh, after mastering.
That's what I was talking about. After mastering.
Yeah. I thing is, if your dynamic range, the lower the number of your dynamic range, the more fatiguing it's going to be for the consumer to listen to. So you want that number to be, pretty big. 7, 8, 9, 10 is probably pretty good. 4 or 5 you get for heavy metal quite a lot, but to me that's really, my ears are done after about 40 seconds of listening to that.
Yeah, and that's a good point that you can if you're depending on the genre of music, you can always get the latest, reference track, go get a mastered copy of something in that style and make it as loud as that if you want to be competitive or close, close. And so
there's a plugin company called Metaplugs that do Ian Shepherd's mastering plugins that help you with loudness management, like the Dynameter, for example, and the Perception plugin. They are fantastic. Ian is a world-class mastering engineer, and he created these plugins with Metaplugs, and they are terrific at helping you achieve a good dynamic range for your music, so that you're not getting into loudness wars territory,
right?
Which you don't want to do.
No, really. Certainly not. Like you said, I would rather be conservative.
Yeah.
Rock Trunk says, you ever run out of sharps on your UAD? Oh, you mean do I ever run out of DSP power? Like on my UAD system, no, but I have a large system, so it depends on what you're using. And again, if you go to on my YouTube channel about a year ago, I did a whole there's a playlist called Universal Audio Series, and if you watch the first video, it takes you through the hardware, the software, through the hardware part of it, and how the DSP works, and how that whole system kind of goes. It's about a year old or a year and a half old, but it's still very, very relevant. If you want something more up to date as far as the whole explanation around it, DSP, all that stuff, mixing with analog style plugins made easy. I spend an hour talking about that. But I don't ever run out of. But I have a massive system, so
have an enormous system.
Huh? What's that?
You have an enormous system.
I do, because that's what I use most of the time is Universal Audio. And I didn't buy it all at once. I mean, the thing about Universal Audio, again, that I like is that it's scalable. So you can start small, and and then if you find that you outgrow it, it's not like what you bought is no good anymore. You can add a second unit to it. You can daisy chain, I think, 4 or 6 of these things together, which is what I've done over the course of a few years. Yeah, so I don't ever run out of DSP. But if you're someone that wants to do, kind of the, the console style mixing that I always talk about, where you take, if like this session that we just looked at with Fat Hat is 21 tracks. Well, if I wanted to put 21 channel strips on that and 21 tape machines on that, UAD, I mean, and then use, all their 1176s and Pultecs and Fairchilds, you're going to load up a system pretty quickly. You wouldn't be able to do that with a smaller system.
No.
You'd have to do some more tops-down mixing approaching, where maybe you're just putting channel strips on buses as opposed to individual tracks and all that kind of stuff, which you can do. But if you want to do the full-on copy of the analog console kind of a thing, you need a big system. Because the one thing about the Universal Audio plugins, they take a lot, especially the channel strips, they take a lot of DSP because they're modeled so accurately, and that's why. And so that's just the way it is.
That's the way I have to operate. Because I'm with you on the whole treat your DAW like a console mentality. I'm very much with you there. Having come from there to start with, I feel like my mixing life has just gone round in a big circle.
Yeah.
Which is nice, but because of my limited resources, I'm having to kind of improvise it a little bit and kind of have my consoles emulation stuff on my buses. So it's a little bit of a fudge, but it gets what I want for now.
It gets you there, right? Ian wants to know from both of us, Dave and Johnny, CLA plugins. Do you use them on a day-to-day basis or based on tracks? Do you have any of the Wave CLA stuff, John?
I don't.
No?
No. I have had my eye on the LA2A and the 1176, I think, is part of his bundle as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had my eye on those as well. At the moment, I'm making use of those models inside the Fat channel.
Yes, and again, we've done a video, a live stream. Johnny and I did that together, where we compared the Universal Audio to the PreSonus to the Waves, side by side.
And it was a tough shootout, wasn't it?
It was a tough shootout. It was they were all in the neighborhood of where they were supposed to be. So we won't tell you what our personal opinions were. You need to go watch the video.
Yeah, go watch that video and you'll kind of see how close that shootout was. But
But I don't do I use them on a day-to-day basis. It depends. If I'm teaching and doing instructional stuff, I use them. I use them a fair amount. For client work and stuff like that, not typically, because I usually fall back to the universal audio ones. I just prefer those better.
Yeah.
But that's just it's like anything. It's like but it's like anything. But they're so similar. They're great for the and if you're asking because they're on sale and you want to know are they worth the money, they are worth $29 all day long. If you don't have an 1176 and you don't have a LA2A in your collection of plugins and you want one, those are great plugins.
Yes.
They really, really are. So, if that's why you're asking, then check them out. I really don't think you would be disappointed.
No, they're worth every cent. Seriously.
Right. UAD, UND. See, I'm on Universal Audio now. UND Music Productions. I think the most misused or least understood is proper compression and proper EQ. Oops, I just lost your question there. Overboosting versus attenuating. You're 100% correct. We talk about that all the time on our live streams and on my channel. And in any one of my training products, whether it's home recording medias and you're learning to mix, what you just said there, which is most people don't understand proper EQ and compression, I say ad nauseum. And you're absolutely correct that EQ and compression and the proper use of I shouldn't say the proper use, the effective use of it is the two most important things you can possibly learn how to master in your mixing toolbox. Without those two things, all this other stuff that we talk about, tape machines and channel strips and all that stuff, really doesn't mean a whole lot if you don't understand how to use EQ and compression effectively. And most people boost versus attenuate. You're absolutely correct.
Mm-hmm.
So, but again, if you watch any of our videos, any of my training products, I go through this, like I said, ad nauseum. So, but you're absolutely correct.
Most oftentimes, you can fix a problem by cutting what you don't need to achieve the same effect of boosting. So if you're losing top end, cut something from down below, and you might find that frees up energy, which allows the top end to come through anyway without you having to boost.
Yeah. More times than not, I'm cutting and boosting. If I were to look at my EQ, if something is recorded well, again, there's always that exception where something was recorded so poorly that boosting is the only way. But more times than not, that's not the case. Paul says the new CLA mix bus is pretty nice. Yeah, I have that plugin. It's pretty good. It's got an EQ, a compressor, a tape machine, and a saturator, kind of all in one plugin. And I did a demo on that on my YouTube channel. Check that out. It is a nice plugin though. Let's see. Does Studio One do GUI less plugins like Air Windows? I don't know what Air Windows is. I don't know what GUI less plugins. I think I know what you mean, but I don't think they do. No, they don't.
That sounds like that sounds like some mentalist kind of trick. No, I'm kidding. No, there's no GUI-less plugins currently.
Woodbeast, DV and Dave and Johnny, great show. Was a treat seeing you guys. Thanks, Woodbeast, for stopping by. Appreciate that. UND Music Productions, 1176 versus Distressor versus the LA2, and the Pultec versus the Pultec and the Neve and API 500. What do you think works the best on drums, vocals, guitar? Oh, wow. That's an hour answer. It really, I think I understand what your question is, and it really depends. Every one of those units that you mentioned, I've used a lot. What works better on drums, vocals, guitars, and so forth? It's totally dependent on how it was recorded, what instrument it is. There's a whole if it's a guitar, what kind of amp is being used. It's totally dependent on that. So depending on how the track was recorded would totally dictate to me which one of these, if any, would I use in a mixing capacity. But all of them are great. Like there's certain kind of go-tos, like the LA3A I use on electric guitars a lot. They tend to sound good on electric guitars. Me personally, not every single time, 80% of the time. Things like LA2A sounds great on bass. sounds
Yep.
great on vocals. Fairchild sounds great on anything, especially vocals. Pultec sounds, another thing, it sounds great on anything. I use Pultec a lot on snare drums,
Yeah.
lead vocals,
Yep.
overheads, but never in the same mix. So
Yep.
I use them very sparingly. And if you want to know more about that, you have to go by Mixing with Analog Style Plugins Made Easy, because I spend an awful lot of time talking about that whole philosophy. So I will almost never will you see me use an LA2A on more than 2 tracks in any mix. Usually it's 1 track, more times than not.
Yep.
So let's see. Take a few more questions, and maybe we're running up on an hour and 50 minutes. We'll do 10 more minutes, John. Is that cool? And then we'll call it a day. It'll be 2 hours at that point.
Yeah, that's cool because I'm doing a show at midnight my time.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
you'll get 2 hours.
2 hours, and that's all you guys get. No, that's cool. I'm glad you guys all came to hang out. I know we didn't have much of an agenda. We just got on here, and we still have almost 30 people here. Let's see. Way more questions down here. If you see any questions, Johnny, that I skipped over, please feel free to jump in and grab one if you want. I'm just scrolling around here. Let's see. Jamplay 317. I'm using a Fire Studio project. Okay, it's an interface. What would be the next interface you would recommend? Well, it depends what you want to do. The Fire Studio project's a great interface. So
It is.
it depends. What is your goal? Well, what don't you like about that one? Why would you want to buy another one?
And
That's my first question. And then based on that answer, I could tell you what I would recommend.
Go ahead.
Let's see.
Yeah, as you go, it's like how many inputs do you need? And,
yeah. Well, the Fire Project Studio has how many? 8, right?
8, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's DSP versus no DSP.
Yeah, right. How many inputs you're going to do? What are you trying to do? And why doesn't your Fire Project Studio work for you anymore? What about that is even making you consider buying something else? And you probably have a valid reason for that. And based on what that answer is, would be based on what I would tell you to look at.
Yeah.
MGM Studios, Mike says, hey, are 8-inch woofers too big for an 11 by 20 bedroom? 11 by 20, are they too big? 11 by 20. I don't think so. No, that would be the biggest I would go, though.
Yes, I'd agree with that.
Right. And again, my room's a little bit bigger than that. Not much. That's a good sized room. And I'm using the Focals with 6-inch woofers in them, and they're fine. So, hi, Randall just showed up. Hey, Randall, how are you?
Good to see you, Randall.
Let's see. MGS, I would start off, Ian is saying to Mike, I would start off with 5s and see how those are for the room. Better start small than go too big.
Correct. Yeah, totally.
Let's see.
In Windows one-man show, he has lots of analog saturation plugins, says Paul Lucas. Okay, I've never come across those before.
Me neither. That's good information though.
Yep.
Let's see. Justin says thoughts on converters, new interfaces by Foztech, PreSonus, UAD, Apogee. Also gonna pitch your. Going to pitch your trash can Mac next year for a new Mac Pro. Oh, am I going to pitch my? Oh, am I going to for Apple's new Mac Pro? Oh, am I going to ditch my trash can? No, that it cost me far too much money.
Really?
No. I've had my trash can Mac since 2013. It runs as good as the day I bought it, and for what I do, there's no reason for me to upgrade. I'm just not going to take that business expense at this point. My thoughts on the converters and the interfaces by what you mentioned. I haven't used all of them, but I can tell you that the Focusrite, the PreSonus, the UAD, they all have great preamps in them. If you're talking about like the Focusrite, they have an 8-channel rack versus like the 192 by PreSonus versus the UAD Apollo. Those are kind of all in the same family. They're around that $800 to $1,100 mark price point. To me, they sound virtually the same. I had a Universal Audio Apollo before I got to StudioLive 32, And in the StudioLive 32 is the same preamp that's in the 192, and I've compared the 32 to the UAD, and to me they're the same.
Yeah,
I mean, they're so close, I can't tell the difference, honestly.
Yeah.
Again, it depends on, again, UAD is great because if you're going to use Universal Audio plugins, you get some DSP. It depends on what you're going to do with your setup,
That's
right.
That's very true. Yeah. The series 3 consoles, the preamps are they're outstanding. They're extremely high quality. Ian asks here, can you use the Series 3 mixers faders as EQ changes or compression as opposed to using the knobs on the top? That is a question that we cannot answer at this point in time.
Hint, hint.
Yes.
So, good question, though.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I cannot go into that.
No, you don't. Right. No, you don't want to get you in any trouble. So, let's see. UND Music Productions, on your next live cast, can you please cover room acoustics? I think this is the biggest mistake in a home recording. Thanks. Yes. Yeah, and I have a couple of YouTube videos on acoustic treatment. You can check them out. They're a little dated, but they're still very relevant. But room acoustics is something that is extremely important if you're mixing in a home studio. And a lot of people don't realize that, and a lot of people that's like an afterthought. And for me, if you're setting up a mixing space in one of your rooms in your home, next to your computer, it's probably the very next computer purchase number 1. Purchase number 2 is acoustic treatment.
Yes, definitely.
Right, and so yeah, and if you can't, for whatever reason, because of the room, or if you're renting, or if you can't get acoustic treatment for whatever reason, use a good set of studio headphones. That takes the room out of the mix.
I've got some advice for those of you that are renting, because I'm renting. This is a rental apartment. It's a 2-bedroom apartment that we've improvised into a 3-bedroom apartment because my wife is a ninja at Tetris. So what I did is I have my foam on my walls to the left and to the right, but it's not actually attached to the walls. Basically, we glued them to huge pieces of card, and then we hung them on the wall like pictures.
Oh, there you go.
So there's basically only like one drawing pin hole for each set of acoustic panels. So I've got on this side, I've got 3, 6, 7, 8 one by one panels, all hung up by a single drawing pin. Same on this side, and then I've got like a couple of others here, a couple of others up there, and a couple of others over there, and then I've got bass traps in the corner behind the screen here, and where the telly is just now, there's going to be another set of 2. I ran out.
Okay. Yeah.
Very well. But yeah. So you can do it if you're renting without defacing the walls, which is what a lot of rental people, you lose your deposit instantly if you do that.
Right. No, that's a great tip. And so, yeah, you should be able to get acoustic treatment, and you don't have to spend a lot of money on acoustic treatment either. There are a lot of YouTube videos on do-it-yourself, make your own, really inexpensive, or you can buy even commercial stuff, relatively inexpensive. If you have a small room, you don't need a ton of acoustic treatment in it.
Yeah.
So, on average, US dollars, if you had no acoustic treatment in, say, a 10 by 10 or a 10 by 15 room, and you wanted to buy it and not make it, $200, $250 will get you most of the way there.
Please do not go to Gear Slots and go on the acoustic treatment threads. They are a waste of time. And I'll tell you why. Because you have a lot of people there that say you have to spend minimum $1,000 on acoustic treatment.
No, that's not true.
And get those, those sets made by GAK Acoustics. The London 12.
Yeah, those are fantastic. If you want to spend that kind of money, you can, but you don't have to.
No, you don't. You really don't. Even if you're making your own, rock wool and some blankets and a wood frame is sufficient to make your panels. But even I have Auralex on my walls, and I got them on a special deal. So I got them for £150 UK, which is going to be about $200-ish.
Yeah, that's about right. And Orlex makes great stuff, and you know, you can absolutely do it. You know,
Just ignore the snobbery. If it works for your room and it deals with the acoustic issues in your room, then who cares?
Right. Right, exactly. And again, use headphones if you want as a way to check. You can also, if you mix at a lower volume level, that's going to help tremendously because you don't have as many reflections. But yeah, but his original question was, can you in our next live cast maybe do a big block on just acoustic treatment? Yeah, we could do that. I'll write that down. I got some samples of things that I can show, but it is extremely important. It really is. And if you want to know if your room really needs to be acoustic, they all need to be acoustically treated. But if you don't believe me, mix in a room without acoustic treatment and take that mix on a CD and go put it in your car. And if it doesn't sound the same, and it won't, you need acoustic treatment.
Yep.
And there are some YouTube videos on my channel already to show you kind of my layout and where the most essential pieces of acoustic treatment needs to go. And Johnny just kind of mentioned that. And you could do it all. Let's see. So we got another, well, we're coming up on 2 hours here. So what we're going to do, Paul says, yeah, great video. Totally, really informative. Thanks, David and Johnny. Great. So we'll end on that.
Yep.
So thanks so much, guys, for joining us on our little unscheduled 30 minutes before we decided to do it live stream. Thanks. We had 28 people still here, and I hope we answered a lot of your questions. And you know, we'll do these again soon. But yeah, make sure you go check out Johnny's channel. He's got YouTube videos going up all the time. And Johnny, you're doing live streams now as well, right?
Yeah, I have to do them I have to do them a slightly different way than you, because I have very, very slow upload speeds here, for a variety of reasons I'll not get into. But I will be on at 6 p.m. Central Daylight. It's not daylight, Central Time. 6 p.m. Central Time, over on my YouTube channel.
Cool.
So that's 2 hours from now. So I'm going to go and take a little break and rest my voice. And my target asked what size my room is. It's about 9 by 7. It's actually 9 by 7.25.
So yeah, 10 by 10. So it's a small bedroom, really, right?
Yep.
Kind of
little box.
Yeah. All right, man. So go check out Johnny in a couple hours back on his channel for his live stream, and always go back to Home Recording Made Easy and learningtomix.com. There'll be more videos coming soon, and we will see you guys all next time. Thanks so much again. Hope you guys have a great night and a great holiday, and I'll talk to you guys all soon. Thanks. Bye.
Cheers, folks.